Alright, attention! Make sure you will able to actually get ourselves a little bit more of a cooperative aspect this time around. Yeah, so that hopefully we don't get any mistakes whatsoever, so pay attention to the leader. So, understand? Good. Hey, what is up ladies and gentlemen? I'm Sonic the Hedgehog here. And I'm Pinkie Pie here. We are back for some more yet again for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos, of course. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to more Let's Play of Super Mario Party for the Nintendo Switch. So previously, in the last weekend, is the fact that we actually did manage to tackle through the final board in the Partner Party mode, and that will have to be 10 Traveling Tower Toys. And we did manage to able to, in addition with the able to actually deal with that particular final main board of the Partner Party mode, we also did manage to get ourselves our second gem, which is known as the Gem of Love. So despite the fact that it was actually not to be shaped as a heart, mind you, but instead it was actually a formal circle. Yeah, you probably get the idea for this point, Sonic, so, but even then, we've already noticed by this point. So today, especially by the forms of this particular weekend, is the fact that we're about to begin the next new mode of Super Mario Party, and that will have to be River Survival. So choose which branches of the river to tackle and work together to make it to the end. So basically, in this particular mode is basically a cooperative aspect mode. See, Fernando, obviously we need to able to work together, and as you can see on the top there, on our own time, we did manage to able to play through this 3 times so far, because we'll explain more details onto that whenever we're able to explore the actual River Survival mode. But before we start this mode off, we can actually either choose between what sides of the actual raft that we can able to decide to pedal. See, Fernando, we can either do the left side or the right side, what choice do we able to go for. So even then, let's just do it for now on though, the left side as it is for this point. And then eventually at some points on the multitude of playthroughs of, you know, River Survival mode, then we shall able to actually just go ahead and deal with the right side as opposed to the left. So, here we go, onto River Survival mode. So, yeah, this is gonna be fun because even then though, that whenever I first saw this back in, you know, last year's August on Gamescom 2018, I was actually quite surprised to see how this mode is actually going to be plays out. Even though it's kind of like the same thing for how it does it on, even though this is kind of almost exactly like the equivalent to the vehicle mechanics from Mario Party 9 and Mario Party 10, but a lot more better this time around though because it's on its own mode, and especially noticeable how the fact that it's not a party board or anything like that, it's just a side mode. So basically, in this particular mode, as I said before, we need to work together for the majority of the time for this particular mode. And basically, the entire objective of this mode is very simple. We need to work with the time limit, and then we need to able to actually pedal the Joy-Con. It depends on what directions you're actually on. You can able to actually proceed. So, gentle beginnings. So, yeah, because as you can see from the actual map, that we can actually go into multitude of branching pathways that we can take. Like, but even then, we'll mention more details onto that whenever we're able to continue exploring for that. So here we go, onto this first minigame here, because in order to actually activate the minigames on this mode, you need to keep on popping up these balloons. So the first minigame we have is Penguin Pushers. Curl the penguins and drive them to the pen. The baby penguins will waddle away from you if you chase them. So this minigame is kind of similar to the forms of how it does it on that minigame from Mario Party 6, but in forms of Buranta, that except the fact that rather than just actually chasing down pink boos, instead we have to chase down these penguins. So as you can see, that we actually got ourselves the ranking system, which every time, well, if you beat a certain amount of time, then depending on how fast you do with the actual minigame, then you get yourselves 4 different ranking systems. There is a C rank, the B rank, the A rank, and of course the best rank in this particular all kinds of minigames with all this River Survival minigames is the S rank. So yeah, you definitely want to aim for the S rank honestly, because not only does it give you like an extra time as you can see right there, but it's also the fact of the matter is though, is the fact that obviously the entire mode is actually huge emphasis on time limit system. Then the more better you're good at, then the more better experience that you will able to perform at. See, Fernando, that as you can see, that to get an S rank, if you manage to achieve the S rank, well, you obviously get yourselves 40 seconds. But if you get like an A rank, then you get yourselves 30 seconds. But if you get an A rank, then you get yourselves 20 seconds. And if you get the worst ranking, which is the rank C, this means you have less time to able to add into your, well, your time limit system. See, Fernando, be sure to be fast and very clever, and especially noticeable, it's all about cooperation. So this means you must able to build up with your better teammate. So yeah, you probably get the idea of Pinkie Pie. And by the way, what's wrong with your voice, by the way, Pinkie? It's just basically just my voice examples and all that stuff. So I must admit, though, I must apologize for that. So, but I digress, though. And since we got ourselves 40 seconds on that first mini game, and let's go ahead and pop this next balloon here. So that way we can able to get ourselves our next new mini game, which is Suit Yourselves. Find the cards shown in the example. Have each teammate focus on one card. So, the S rank requirements on this minigame is the fact that you really can't afford to miss once. So, yeah, now as for the other rankings, well, depends on how much misses you might go for. Well, obviously you might as well get yourselves your lesser time, and especially noticeable with the lower rank. So, of all the minigames of Super Mario Party, as far as we actually play it on our own time, especially noticeable with the forms of the entire game itself, this is easily one of the worst minigames in my opinion, just because, well, first of all, well, it's all around based on buddy forms of memorization and all that stuff. Well, I don't see that much memorization. It's not that much of a challenge, apart from the fact that we're actually going to be teaming up with computer players, because the real true experience with this mode is obviously cooperation, especially if you're able to actually just play this with human players. But that's as far as I can really think about it. And aside from that, though, it's pretty long too, because even then, though, not to mention because you have to able to come across into it loads of times if you really want to replay this particular mode. Even if you really want to go through like we're just gonna say this right about now. When it comes to the actual like river survival mode, we might actually decide to go a little bit more slightly different compared to most Let's Plays of this particular mode. We've decided to able to actually go for, excuse me, I just ate some chili dogs, I do apologize for that. But we've actually decided to able to actually replay this mode, or in this case for river survival mode, we actually decided to able to play through 10 run-throughs of this mode. Well, because of this though, we'll explain more details onto that whenever we get to like the second playthrough or the third playthrough, or essentially in this case, if you really want to get the gem on this mode, well, as you can tell, there are 5 branching pathways we can able to go to, and each contains like 5 goals. So in this case, we need to able to actually go through all 5 of the normal courses until you eventually get yourselves your next gem. So, just to let you all know on that one. And also, since we got ourselves 43 seconds as opposed to normal 40, this means is the fact that you always recommend you able to actually use the high five system, because if you manage to able to do such a things like this, then you would get yourselves 3 extra seconds. See, Fernando, always recommend you do that, especially if you really want to become a true friendship like we do so for ourselves. Then we can able to get more time from here. So, there's another new minigame here, minor setbacks. Carry the cart to the finish line, watch out for piranha plants. So basically, that if you manage to able to go over 20 seconds, then obviously we would get ourselves the S rank on this particular minigame. So, I will admit though right away is the fact that this minigame can be very challenging at times, even because just like the forms of how it does it in some similarities when it comes to Mario Party 1, and especially with Mario Party 2, that depends on if how much replay abilities you can able to actually go for some of these minigames, specifically in River Survival mode. Well, in some minigames anyway, like this one for instance, especially the other one as well, which we're about to show off at any points worth noting for, and the courses themselves will actually change up a little bit. So even then though, in this particular course, that there's going to be filled with piranha plants, and there's going to be some other ones here and there as well, which I don't think we can able to show this off at this point, because obviously we're about to be moving on, and plus because of how the fact that, well, I'm pretty sure the minigames themselves will be randomized every time you actually replay this mode. So, if that's to be the case, then that's as far as I can go for this point. So, let's go and get another balloon here. And I believe for this minigame is the fact that we need to use the Joy-Con vertically until we play ourselves another new minigame, Home on the Ring. Knock over the Pokies. Hitting a Pokie's head is worth 3 points. So, to get the S rank on this one though, I'm pretty sure we need to gather about, let's just say 90 or more than that. Well, I would say lesser than that though, Sonic, just because he won't exactly the most accurate when it comes to mathematical equations or anything like that. Oh, that's totally my fault for that point right there. I must admit that right away. So, yeah, there's not much else we can actually say about this at this point, as the fact that, well, aside from today's day, actually, is the forms of the 27th of April in 2019, so in this case, one thing we've actually forgot to mention about this, actually, at least to me, I forgot to mention about this during my Shadow the Hedgehog Let's Play, actually, is the fact that Kirby, as far as the actual Kirby game series in general, Kirby is now 27 years old. Gee, I can't believe that he's almost going to be 30 years old until when it gets to the point until, well, 2022, until when he becomes 30 years old. Yeah, which is kind of surprising, actually, which happens the exact same year as Beijing 2022, specifically on the Beijing Winter Olympics. So even then, it could be a little bit more surprising choices, because even then, they did done the actual celebration of Kirby, at least for about a couple of years ago, actually, since at the very beginning, like in 1992, and I don't know exactly what the actual Olympics that takes place in with 1992, but we'll explain more details onto that until tomorrow's video, because again, that we love to able to actually go through all 10 playthroughs of this mode. Here we are now into the waterfall plunge, meaning about the fact that we actually stumbled across tons of waterfalls. Well, not tons of them, but just only 2 of them in this section, so... But there are some plenty of emphasis on the forms of like some obstacles and challenges along the way, because as you can see on the actual map, although before we get into this, however, though, we got ourselves yet another new minigame, but this time around we have net worth. Work in sync with your partners to catch lots of fish. Gold Cheep Cheeps are worth 3 points. And the S rank requirements on this minigame is to get up to 90 points, so, or more than that to be more precise, and raise the Joy-Con upwards until you're able to actually raise the net. So, that's as far as I can usually say about this minigame here. Although, if you manage to be able to play this with human players, you have to do a timing requirement, because unlike the computer players, as you can see there, it doesn't work for you. So even then though, that way it can automatically gives it to you instantly. So it's kind of interesting to say much for that. So yeah, you probably get the idea about this at this point. So even then, let's just go ahead and catch some more fishes along the way. And hopefully next thing you know is the fact that, well, I'm pretty sure enough the original record for this is, I believe it's actually 95 or 96 rather. But somehow we actually got the exact same score as the forms of how it does it in our first time playing through this particular minigame, because if you couldn't tell already that we've already done 3 playthroughs of this mode already. Just because, in order to actually unlock that specific character by the forms of Donkey Kong, in order to actually unlock Donkey Kong though, although I'll explain more details onto the unlockable character system once we get into the corresponding modes, so even then, let's start things up with the first character you will unlock, although before we get into this, however though, another new minigame, so, but this time around though, go with the Flu. Pop as many balloons as you can, push toads with the force of your fans, you have 3 chances, so, yeah, and I believe the S rank requirements on this minigame though, it was actually 180 points or more than that, so, let's get this thing to it. So anyways though, in order to actually unlock the first character you unlock in Super Mario Party, and that will have to be Donkey Kong, and in that particular character choices method in order to actually unlock Donkey Kong, is the fact that you have to go through river survival mode within 3 playthroughs of that mode. And then once you're able to find all 3 of those goals, then you were able to actually unlock Donkey Kong for you. Although before you're able to get a chance to play as him, however, though, you need to able to actually meet up with the unlockable characters in the back point of the Party Plaza. So even then though, I think it happens like in 4 times, so even then though, that makes this seems the case, mind you. So, but yeah, that's how you unlock Donkey Kong. It's very self-explanatory though, really. Unless if you really want to able to actually play this mode, if the best and easiest way to able to unlock him is obviously not only just play this by yourself, but it's also the fact that the matter is though, is the fact that you always have to let the computer players do it for you. Especially noticeable if you're able to actually try to improve their difficulty, because yes, we decided able to actually change the difficulty with the computer players slightly this time, because we've decided able to actually choose them on very hard mode. Why? Because we figure it might actually say so. And unfortunately though, for this minigame, for this run through, we somehow got the A rank, but that's okay though, because I'm sure enough we got some enough time before we're able to actually make it to the very end. So yeah, as you can see from the actual screen itself, we're still going to be playing as Mario for this entire point, ever since in Kamek's Temp Wrestling Tower from the Mario Party mode. But the computer players for this choice on this first run-through of, although there are some rare occasions on this particular mode, is the fact that sometimes the Koopa Paratrooper right there decides they're able to actually give you a little bit of a nice screenshot photo, which I'm presuming that it's only for the purpose of the forms of that waterfall sequence. So that's pretty cool though. And we got ourselves another new minigame here, Sorts of Fun. Pass around the balls and place them where they belong. Any mistakes will cost you a point. So, and I believe the S rank requirement on this minigame though is you need to able to reach up to 10 or more points. I think it's incredibly difficult to get more than 10 points. It's because you have to be extremely fast on this minigame. Because, well, unless if you're able to unlock, well, if there's a lucky rare chance that you might able to actually get yourself the fastest time as possible. But, and sometimes the actual controls in this minigame can take a while to get used to, but once we're used to it though, when we did manage to play it on our own time, then we sure enough we actually got this, don't you think, Sonic? Well, I'm pretty sure enough that will be the case though. So it looks like we got ourselves the football / the soccer ball, and do we get ourselves 11 points, in this case new records? I don't think so, because we did not even make it there in time. But apart from all that though, Sonic, we managed to get ourselves a glorious S rank, so how about that? In addition with, you know, just doing a high five thingy right here, so that way we can able to get, you know, extra more time. Oh, don't you mean you get us, or we got ourselves extra time? Oh yeah, that's right. So yeah, as you can see right there, one thing I forgot to mention about this actually up until this point, as you can see on the map, there's actually quite a lot of branching pathways we can able to take. Depends on what pathways you're gonna choose, from either left or right. Sometimes it takes you to these different locations based off from the actual challenges you might come across. In this case, we actually now onto wreckage ramps. So in this case, we actually stumbled across tons of ramps in the forms of that actual pavement. So, although the actual part about the forms of that particular obstacle star is the fact that, well, you really don't want to slow things down or what have you. So even then, you have to be extremely fast, and especially noticeable, you really have to be right on with the actual, like, the pedal timing. And also, you can able to actually grab some of these time clocks here and there as well. Like, for instance, we actually got ourselves 3 seconds, even though despite the fact that we did miss one. And also, I think we get a strong feeling that we actually missed out on that balloon over there. So, oh well though, as long as we can able to get extra time, especially with that next minigame balloon that we can able to obtain. So yeah, generally speaking, that's as far as I can see like this for this point here. If you actually let the minigame balloon got away, even especially noticeable if you didn't catch up to it well enough, basically the actual balloon itself will be flying away. So, and plus, not to mention though, you won't get a chance to play the minigame. So, fetch quest, bring the 9 shards to the center. Some paths are accessible or inaccessible without someone standing on a button. And the S rank requirements on this minigame though, it was actually, I don't know how much, okay, it's over 30 seconds, so hopefully we can able to guarantee to able to finish this minigame quite quickly. actually kind of think about it, this minigame, I actually do really like this particular minigame's name. Because, get it? Because we have to able to fetch, like, you know, fetch quests in here and there. But obviously we need to able to obtain 9 of those shards or what have you until you're able to finish the minigame. So, yeah, you get the gist of it. So, and obviously computer players will do the actual switches for you because obviously there are some shards that will be completely shut due to the forms of the actual switch accessibility. So, but since we actually did manage to reach for this mini game at the end for over 30 seconds or two, then we can able to actually guarantee to get ourselves a nice S rank after all. So, piece of cake, I suppose. Alright, so now we're moving on to, you know, the next pathway that we can able to still continue on for this point. But again, in order to actually get ourselves the next gem, which we can't explain things too much, is the fact that we need to able to replay through the actual mode 5 times. Although, for our sake of our let's play of this particular game, although I'll get into more details onto that later, because we have another new minigame, which we have, this is kind of a weird name, and this is Be the Way. I know, I do apologize by the forms of that terrible pronunciation right there, but I digress. Carry the fireworks to the cannon, and basically, what does that say on the bottom again, Pinky? Let me just see right here. So the S rank requirements is go over 25 seconds left, and yeah, following you will cost you a time. So, yeah, you just have to pay attention for this point. This minigame is so similar to me, the forms of how it does it, or in this case, if I like to be honest for this point, it kind of reminds me of that one minigame from Mario Party 7, where you're able to actually traverse for the actual paths, and the same applies for, Friendship Bridges from Mario Party 3. Well, in this case for that minigame you mentioned from Mario Party 7, is actually called Unhappy Trails. Yeah, because it's kind of like the same thing for this minigame here, but the biggest difference is here is the fact that 4 players needs to team up, as opposed to like, 2 times 4 type of minigame battle. Or don't you mean the 8-player minigame, as far as you like to pronounce that? So, yeah, that's far from the truth for that point right there. But I actually do really like that minigame, because even though it reminds me so much of Mario Party 7 minigame. Yeah, at least as far as I've usually noticed by this point. As far as the actual River Survival minigames is concerned, when it comes to like the amount of minigames you actually have to play, well, I believe there are about 10 of them, so even then though, that we might actually come across into the exact same ones over and over again, until whenever we're able to actually replay this mode from time to time. However though, there are some great parts of the actual map, well, we might actually save them, well, in this case, on that 4th goal right there, that we haven't got into at this point, we're actually going to be saving that for later, so breakneck pace. Oh, talk about the actual, like, quotes, or in this case for that caption of that location. So yeah, there's going to be some of these boost paths every once in a while, especially with that dash ramps that help you along the way as well, so that way you can able to actually avoid lots of obstacles in your path. So, yeah, definitely try your best to able to actually get these minigame balloons as much as you could, until you're able to actually get even more time as a result. So there goes another new minigame here, and let's see what we got here. Fireplace race. Light all the candles. If a swoop catches you, it'll take you back to the fireplace. And the goal requirements to get the S rank is to able to go over 10 seconds, so, and we need to light up about 30 of them. This minigame right there is actually kind of reminds me of that particular minigame from Mario Party 6, which I believe is actually calls it, Light It All Up, which I don't know exactly what that actual minigame is called, but again, it's been a long time since I actually played Mario Party 6, so again, we must confess right away that we will mention more details onto that whenever we're able to actually get to the second playthrough of this particular mode, because again, we'd like to able to actually get ourselves our next gem, as long as we can able to actually show you guys of how to able to do such a things. So, and I believe, as far as I'm aware, that, have we exactly played all 10 of those mini-games to be exact? I'm pretty sure we have, because I think that's as far as we can able to go for this point. Well, apart from there's gonna be one left, but we'll see what happens here. But for the most part though, we'll just have to like, wait and see what happens here, so... Oh yeah, every once in a while, as you can see right there, there's going to be some of these musical notes laying around. However, though, I will admit though right away is the fact that getting every single musical note on that one specific on that one specific chance here is actually a lot more difficult to able to get. But the only rewards you can get if you manage to get all of these musical notes, it was just basically just, you know, more extra time right here. So yeah, that's as far as I can usually say about this for the most part though. So anyways, let's go ahead and keep on paddling most of it. It's already able to actually decide to continue on from that point. And I believe we're almost nearly towards the end. And I'm assuming so, that the entire mode will be around for about, let's just say 20 minutes or longer. Well, just because of how the fact that there's one minigame in particular with the River Survival minigames department that you might actually get sick of, which is actually by the forms of suit yourselves, because not only, as I said this before, that minigame will drag on for about a few seconds worth noting for. And by the way, we actually come towards the jumping Drapensile. So, but again, I do apologize for that pronunciation errors, just because I haven't exactly played that mode quite often compared to Mario Party mode and all that stuff. And by the way, if you manage to let the balloon, oh, can we get it? Oh, we just missed it. Hopefully we still got enough time before we're able to reach to the goal here, and we still keep on missing those musical notes, which I still find is a little bit difficult to obtain them. Just because, well, if you manage to bypass one of those musical notes, then you'll be missing out completely. And also in addition with that, sometimes it feels incredibly difficult to able to actually get them, especially if how the fact that, well, if computer players manage to team up with you, sometimes you might end up ignoring them. So, you get the idea for that point, Sonic. Yeah, which is probably true for that regard. But anyway, so let's get these 3 more seconds here, especially another 3 seconds right here. So just in case we can able to actually get towards the very end of this particular first goal right there. In fact, we're actually getting quite close. So even then, let's go ahead and get ourselves extra more time. And, oh crap, we actually did miss that one here. But nonetheless though, we reached to the first goal of River Survival. So once you reach to the very end of this particular, depending on what course you're in, that's the end of the actual mode. So, and I think that goes for vice versa in the other goals here and there as well. So, yeah, and after all that, I'm pretty sure the amount of distance you might actually go into, it always ended up in the forms of like 5,000 meters. So, because that actually represents how much meters distance of how the goal actually represents. So, and let's take a look at that photo right there. Even though it doesn't seem we haven't got that much focused off with that particular waterfall, but I'm pretty sure we got this decently. So, and after all that, we can see the actual results here, including that photo snapshot that Koopa Trooper did manage, or that Paratrooper managed to take a picture of. And also, as you can see, that as you see on the tally results here, it tells you how many balloons you've popped. It depends on what sections you're in, and how many times you've pedaled. So even then though, let's just say, we've pedaled lesser amount compared to the forms of how it does it from the other 3 players. But that's only because of how the fact that we like to show things off with any single parts of this mode as far as I can see how this will go. So anyways though, I think we'll have the endings off here for this point today. So yeah, what do you think? Yeah, probably true for that regard. So join us tomorrow for more of Let's Play of Super Mario Party. It's the fact that we're actually going to be going through the second playthrough of River Survival, but this time with different characters. So see you guys tomorrow. See you then.